Hey everyone! Welcome. Who's in the class right now? We have first here is Abhira, my gorilla. Oops, G Pill. Like I don't know how to read it. I'm sorry. Who just said yeah, but you were the first person to talk. Ruchita, Lola, Trixie says I lost my motivation. I hope this will help me. I know this will help me get it back. It will. For those of you who have given up on Korean, just don't want to learn anymore. Sometimes it just feels pointless to keep learning Korean. I'm letting you know that it's not. There's still hope. You can still learn Korean. I mean, you always could. Welcome. Kai, I see you got the notification this time. Anguilla, Cosma. Cosma says you waited for this lesson. Yes, that's right. I have mentioned this a long time ago. I did briefly cover it in my Korean conversation course, as well as the book Korean Conversation Made Simple. I mentioned the forms there. This will be more of like a full lesson all about it, but I did mention it. There are like 2 sentences in that course as well. But yeah, I've never taught it before anywhere as like a separate lesson at all. And that's the closest I've ever come to teaching it, was those 2 sentences. Welcome, Tulips, Mike, Gummy Girl, Claire, Kat, Desire, Chad, Lady Natbug from CALA, yes. Alexandra Taseva, welcome. Helen, Keith, Yoon, Jane, Eve Lafie, Faye, I'm not sure how that's pronounced still. X-Car, X-Crash, X-Hearts, X47. Was 46 taken? Welcome, Malwani. I had Adobe call YouTube to rip them apart. That's good. I'm glad that they are giving you more freedom now. Maybe next time, maybe if you keep this up, keep the pressure on them, keep the fire under them, they'll start letting you eat. I don't know. I mean, we can all be hopeful. Yip, welcome. Kiko. Bunch of new people. A few names I've never seen before. Maybe you're not new, but I've never seen you comment before. If you're like new, if you've never commented and you don't like to comment, but you're just kind of lurking, why don't you just like leave a period in the chat? I'm kind of curious. Just hit space and then enter. I'm just kind of curious who else is here who's not participating, but who is listening. So I can know who to like look out for, right? Eve, Ebe, Pay. Eve Lafay. Okay, I think I got it. Eve Lafay. Is it like a French name? Like Pepe Le Pew? Eve Lafay. Kind of like that sort of thing. Nice. I just want to see some names. I won't embarrass you. I won't read your name out loud. I just want to know who else is watching and doesn't ever comment. You don't have to if you feel like really uncomfortable. I'm just curious. Because I'll always post these videos and then like, maybe like 100 of you will show up during the live. I'm like, that's cool. And then, a few weeks later, I'll check and it'll have like 2,000 views. I'm like, that's odd. I could have sworn there weren't that many people watching, but I guess some people watch it later. Other people watch it, but don't say anything. And that's cool. My feelings aren't hurt. It's okay. I understand. It is. I'm French. Your pronunciation is on point. Nice. I need sunlight. This basement is so dark. Only the light from the disconnected phone they give me for lessons. Still hoping for that sponsorship. It will come one day. I will be making a post in a week or 2. You'll see a post on my Patreon page about my upcoming fan meetup. So it'll either be, for those of you who are here right now, I'll give you a heads up. It's going to be the last Saturday of this month or the first Sunday of next month. I'm deciding between those 2 days. Either probably I think it's like May 30th or June 6th. Whatever it is, the Saturdays, those Saturdays. One of those 2 Saturdays, I'm going to do the fan meetup in Seoul for this year. It's always different. I've done it later. Sometimes I'll do it earlier. It's just whenever I feel like it. But I will be making a post on Patreon where I will let you vote. So maybe in like a week or two, you'll see a little post you can vote. Which one would you rather it be? I don't know who's going to be there, but it would be cool to see some of you. I've seen a few of you come to the meetup before. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the chat right now. I'd have to check over. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the chat right now who was there before. Jay Brown says, I watch your videos every day. I turn them on while I'm working. Nice. Don't tell your boss. I used to lurk in the lives before I was brave enough to say hello. Oh, nice. I was intimidating. How dare you say that to me, Gummy Girl? How dare you? Lady Natbug says, it's me, Natalie Luskin. I finally updated my username from when YouTube changed their settings a month ago. Yeah, that's right. It was such an annoying change. I had learned all of your names from like the names, and then YouTube switched it one week, and then it's like everyone's new, and I had no clue who anyone was. It was really frustrating. Been learning 220 days. Nice. I'll try to come this time. That'd be cool. That'd be cool to see you. I just started learning Korean, and it's so to understand Hangul. It's very confusing. 노래방에 갈 거예요? I would like to some year. What I need though is I need to find a singing room that can accommodate more than like 10 people. And these days, most singing rooms are just the coin operated one. Like they're called coin 노래방. It doesn't really mean they're operated, but they use coins. They don't use coins. They use dollars, or I mean, they use bills and cards, but they're small. They usually only hold like, you could probably shove like 5-6 people in, but they're usually only made for like 2, maybe 3 people. But the older traditional style of karaoke rooms, regular 노래방, are charged by the hour. So you might pay like 10,000 won or 20,000 won per hour, depending on, you know, the size and the quality and everything. Maybe they have some fancier ones. Sometimes they include like drinks, but those ones are harder to find. And then even still, those are made for maybe like 8 people. Like you can get a few people in there. It's fine with like 5 or 6, but you can't really shove more than like 10 people in one of those either. So you'd have to get like a party room, and then you're talking like, you know, $50, $100 an hour, like that sort of thing. Just so I could sing to you guys. Is it really worth it? I mean, I can sing, but I'm not like great. Like, don't expect like a concert, you know, go see Adele or something. Grapes and night. My appa will not understand me. My apps, not okay. My appa. I was like, your dad won't understand you. Okay. Party room. Yeah, they're called party rooms. It's just like a room that you rent for on an hourly basis for like, if you want to have like just a party with your friends, a place to hang out essentially, where they're not going to tell you to get out. Like Korea has different culture for cafes and restaurants. In the US, if you're going to meet your friends and you want to go hang out for a bit, right? Where do you go? You'll go to like a bar, or you'll go to a restaurant, right? Like, hey, we're all meeting here. Everyone, you know, we got a table. They'll give you a table in the back that has like, you know, 20 seats, and you'll hang out there. They might even do separate catering for you back there, whatever. But Korea doesn't work that way. Restaurants want you to get out of there when you're done eating. You're not supposed to hang out at a restaurant for like 2-3 hours in Korea. In the US, they don't really care. Probably a lot of, actually, I'm not sure about Europe because I've never been there, but I'm assuming Europe is going to be similar to Korea. When you go to a restaurant to eat, you order your food, you get your food, you eat, you talk like a few minutes, but then you leave. In the US, it's like, oh, you've been here for an hour. Here, I'm just going to put your bill right here. No rush. And then they're not really going to bug you unless you start staying for like, you know, like 4 hours. Then they're going to say, hey, I'm really sorry. We're busy. Do you mind? Is it okay if we could ask you to move for the next people? But in Korea, you're not really supposed to stay longer than you're eating. So if you want to hang out for a long time, we go to a cafe. So that's why Koreans like cafes so much, because you can just like sleep there essentially. You'll see a lot of people like have their laptop open and they're just like sleeping on the desk next to it. You know, if I have an appointment somewhere, but I've arrived really early, I'll just go to a cafe and wait. One time I was waiting for a friend to do a class, and I went to a cafe at like 1 p.m. and waited for them until 6 o'clock p.m. It's like, they don't care. They're not going to bug you. Just order a drink at least. Don't just, you know, sit down there, but get a drink, and that way you're a paying customer. And as long as it's not like too crowded, they're not going to care. So yeah, if you wanted to hang out with friends or do something after a fan meetup, this is all I was trying to say. It's going back to the fan meetup. We'd have to rent like a party room, or we'd have to find a really big cafe with lots of seats. Otherwise, you can't really hang out. Cafes, though, are okay for that too. I've seen sometimes people will just grab a cafe. They'll go early. They'll grab the entire back area and just sit down there and have like a meetup or whatever. That's fine. But if it's a busy place or a Saturday or something like that, it can be hard and you might not be able to sit together. So. Easy solution. Serenade us now. Well, the thing is, I would get copyright stricken, copyright. You know what I mean. I can't do it on YouTube. Learning Hangul. You really helped me a lot. You're welcome. I usually get kicked out after the 75th wing. Oh, they will not stop you in Korea. One time I don't remember what happened. I was just like really bored. I was really like feeling a bit depressed. I don't remember when it was exactly, but I was like, you know what? I just want chicken. So I went to a chicken restaurant by myself. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and I ordered an entire chicken. The waiter's like, 좀 많은데 괜찮겠어요? It's kind of a lot. Like, is that okay? I'm like, oh yeah. So I ordered. So I didn't realize it at the time, but that restaurant's specialty was that they cooked the entire chicken. So they bring you out the entire chicken cut into pieces. But it was a full-size chicken. I think it was like 4만 원 or something like that. So like 40,000 won for the chicken. I also got a side. I also got some chicken mu is what they call it, the chicken radish. Basically, it's just the radish that comes with it. I got side of that, bunch of like dipping sauces. And I just ate the entire chicken. They don't care. If I had ordered a second one, he would have just been like, 뭐 그러던가, like whatever. Sure, like they're not going to stop you. It was really good though, but it was too much. I wish I got a half of a chicken, because I did finish it, but at the end I was like, I don't even think I ate lunch the next day. I think I skipped lunch. It was that much. In Bulgaria, they usually don't tell you to leave. Oh, okay. Then kind of more like the US. My experience is Europe doesn't really care as long as you're spending some money. Yeah, in Korea, though, for a restaurant, you don't keep spending money. That's the thing, is that you order your food, you get drinks, then you're done. If you want to keep hanging out, they'd rather that you didn't, unless it's like a small place, they're not going to care. But a lot of like the nice restaurants, they're popular. They have people waiting. Like they might have a waiting system, and people put in their phone numbers and they're waiting to go in. So if you're just sitting there ordering like one drink an hour, like they're not making money on that. So they'd rather you leave and they can help the next customer. So instead, what people do is, oh yeah, this is the culture of ta. So when you go out to eat at a restaurant, you're all hanging out. That's considered your 일타, your first time, the first meeting, the first thing you're doing, like the first round one, basically. Then afterward, let's go to 이타. 이타, so I don't need to keep writing. 2, 3, 4, 5, you get the idea. It keeps going on. But 이타 is when you go after your eating, or your first time, the first round, your second round, you all go out to get drinks. So I always go to 이타 if I ever meet my friends for food, because you're not there for very long. You know, you'll get your food, you'll eat, you'll talk a bit, and then you get out of there. But you still want to hang out. And you don't necessarily want to go you don't necessarily want to go singing yet or do anything else. You're just kind of like digesting your food, but you still want to hang out. So you can go to a cafe or you can go to a bar or whatever like that. I don't really drink much, but I'll still hang out with people. You can get, I can get like carbonated water or a ginger ale or something like that. And then you go to 이타. After 이타, the people who are really happy to stay and hang out with each other, they'll go on to 삼타. And that will be another bar, or maybe that'll be going to like a 노래방 or something like that. And then it'll keep going. Sometimes people will do like 5타, 6타, or whatever. It doesn't usually go that long, but 삼타 is pretty common. Sometimes people just keep going all the way until the morning. The reason why this can go really long is because let's say you are hanging out with your friends at 8 o'clock and you finish eating, it's 9, and you're like, hey, let's go to a cafe. So you go to a cafe, you hang out there till 10. Cafe closes. But you're like, well, let's just get a drink. So you go get a drink. You think it's going to be quick, but you lose track of time. And now it's 11:30 and you miss the last bus. You don't stay in the area. So your options are to take a very expensive taxi. It might be like 70,000 won, it's like $50 or $60 to get back home, or just hanging out in the area until the morning when the bus starts again at like 5 in the morning. So a lot of people, what they do is that they'll go to a koin norebang, they'll sing, they'll go to a koin norebang and they just kind of sleep, or they'll find like a bar or someplace that's open really late and just kind of like hang out there, order a single drink and just relax. I did that once when I was in Japan, actually. We went to, what were we doing? I think we had dinner and it was too late. We finished, it was like 11 or something. And we missed the last possible train to get back home. So we went to a norebang, essentially, and I just slept until like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. I can't remember. I mean, I wasn't sleeping. I heard, because it was really loud. My two friends, both of them, they were guys. They just kept singing the whole night. So all I heard was like singing really loud. And I'm like, while I'm like half asleep, I hear them singing. And then I woke up and we took the first train to go back to his house. But yeah. I don't really recommend that though, because you're going to be really tired the next day. So I usually try to dip out after like icha. I'm usually done. Guess who? Chicken 무. Yes. What does 부탁드리겠습니다 mean? Is it like, I'll ask you for advice? No, it's like, literally, it's like, I'm asking this as a favor of you. But you can translate it more simply as just, please. Like, could you please do that? It's for asking a request. 부탁 means a request. So literally, 부탁드리다 is to give someone a request. Like, literally, I am going to give you a request is what it literally means. I think it... Actually, I probably should say, because I'm not positive about that. But anyway, it's, yeah, basically like, please. Like, please, would you please do that? So, yeah. But it doesn't have to be 드리겠습니다 like that. The days of me doing all-nighters are very far gone. I never really had that time either. Like, even when I was in college, I wouldn't want to do that. It's just too tiring. When do the buses and trains stop running? That will depend on which bus. Typically, though, 11 to 12 will be when they stop, like, picking you up from places. They might pass by, but they might not stop, depending on which bus it is. So you have to be careful. Check your app. The app will always tell you either Kakao Map or Naver Map. Both of those work. There's also a separate Kakao Bus app. I don't use it. Some people like that. But check those. Subway stations are the same. Subways will also end at around like 11, sometime between 11 and 12, depending on the route. Like, it'll still be running, but it will no longer, a new one won't come by. So if you miss that one, which might take an hour to get to its destination, well, then you're done. I've been on a subway where I took the subway. I wasn't looking at the app. I was like, oh, this is the subway I take. I took the subway and it only went 3 stops, and it's like, that's it. It's done for the day. And it just stopped and opened the doors, and I got out and I'm like, what do I do? And fortunately I found a bus to go back home that was still running, but I also had to take the last bus. So yeah, just pay attention to that. If you miss the last one, you'll have to take a taxi, and taxis sometimes will have late night surcharges. They'll also have extra charges if you're going out of the city. So what might normally be like $20 taxi could end up being like $50 taxi. Usually I prefer to just walk if I can. If it's not too far, I'll just walk. Like, you'd be surprised how far you can walk in a couple hours in Korea, because if you drive, it might take like, 20 minutes to drive, but that's in traffic. It might not be that much longer. It might be like an hour to walk, even though it's like a 20-minute taxi. You never know. Mike, I have a good idea for a video. What is it? Oh, there aren't any prerequisites for the lesson. It's intermediate level, but it should be understandable to everyone. We'll talk about it more in detail, but yeah, you don't have to really worry about that. Make sure to get the worksheet for this. There are 14 additional sentences on the worksheet. There are really a lot of sentences, because this is a form that you're gonna see this used a lot. Once you learn this, you're gonna see like, oh, this form is literally everywhere. How come there aren't any lessons teaching it? I'll talk about that as well during the lesson. But yeah, make sure to get the worksheet for this. 수업들 덕분에 동기 많이 받아요. 주변에 어떤 사람들이 한국어 공부하는 게 소용없다고 하니까 때로는 배울 마음이 없어질 때도 있는데 일요일마다 수업 들으니까 계속하고 Okay, so okay. I understand. I understand. Nice, nice. Getting some motivation. There's a few night bus too. There are night buses that will go long distance, but there's not going to be like a night bus to get you back home. A lot of the regular bus routes just stop. Like if you wanted to go, like for example, you're in Seoul, there's a night bus that'll take you to Busan. That takes like 6 hours or something, and it'll drive. You know, if you don't want to take the train, the KTX is like 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get to Busan. It's great. The KTX also costs about 50,000 won per each way, sometimes a little more. If you do, like, if you don't do KTX, if you do like another version of a train, you might be able to get there in like 30,000 or 40,000, but it's still pretty expensive. If you take the bus though, it's like 6 or 7 hours. I've never done the bus, but it's a night bus. So you take the bus at night and you get there early in the morning. But for me, I can't sleep on transportation. I can barely even sleep at all on an airplane. I might get like 1 hour of sleep on a 13-hour flight. So I definitely wouldn't do that for me. But if you're okay, if you're someone who can sleep on the bus pretty fine, then sure, take the bus, save a ton of money. It's still though not free. I mean, I think the night bus is still like 20,000, but it's about, a little more than a little less than half. So karaoke map? Yes, karaoke map. The best, the only one I use. You navigate to a restaurant, but then when you get there, it's actually just a karaoke bar. But you're like, okay, trying to find your subway station, it leads you to another karaoke place. That's all it has, is karaoke places. I pictured a map that sings your directions. Yes, in Billy's voice. We'll get started with the lesson in just 2 minutes. Who is here? Who is, let me ask this. Who right now watching this, it has a native language that's not English? What I mean is like someone watching this right now who does not speak English as well as their native language. Like you might have been born speaking Spanish, but you actually speak English really good. That's not what I mean. What I mean is like you literally speak your native language better than English. Is there anyone watching right now like that? I'm just curious. If so, your English is good. You can understand me, but where are you from? What language do you understand? They have the Podkult map. That's true. I'm never in Korea during that time, though. I only got to experience it back when I lived in Korea a bunch of times. And then the most recent one was like 2015? One of them, it was late. The cherry blossoms happened like toward the end of April one year. And I was really lucky that I was in Korea that time and I got to see them. But that was it. That's the only one time. Normally they're like in March or February even. My Korean wife told me if I can improve my Korean, she might consider moving back to Seoul. Okay. Is that just an excuse? She actually just wants to live outside of Korea, but she's like, if you improve your Korean, he'll never do it. Is it one of those things? My wife was like that. When we first got married, she's like, I actually prefer to live in Korea, but we can live in the US. It's easier for you, is what kind of how it was. But then after living outside of Korea for a few years, she's like, you know what? This is better than being in Korea. So I found that happens to most Koreans, not all Koreans, but most Koreans who live outside of Korea would like to stay wherever they are, not just the US, but other countries. And especially when they've been outside the US for like a couple of years, then they all feel like, you know what, I wish I didn't live here, because some of the things related to like the culture are a little bit better in other countries. I mean, that doesn't mean like Korea is not a good place to live or anything like that. But a lot of the things that people consider important for like raising kids, working and stuff like that, I feel like other countries are a little bit better for that sort of thing. Just my opinion. My native language is Polish, so every other language I learn seems easy. 이탈리아 사람인데 영어도 가능해요. Oh, nice. I'm from Slovenia. I still think you made that country up. That's the country. It's from Avengers, right? That's the country they saved in the Avengers. Slovenia. What was the name of that country? It was something like that. It was something that sounded like kind of like one of those Prussian territories or areas. I don't know. I'm from Portugal, but I suppose English as a second language will always be worse than my mother tongue. Billy, I'm from Argentina. Argentina. My native language is Espanol. I can understand and speak English, but of course not as well as France. Francais. As for learning Korean, I feel it's slightly easier when subtitles are in French than in English. Okay. I've loved to tell that to my Slovenian professor. Your country doesn't exist. You're from the Avengers. Yeah, I should know where these things are. I should know where different countries are located. Okay, my native language is Bulgarian, but I can speak English. That's nice. Let's get started with our lesson. First of all, if you don't already, oh, it's Kai. Top of the old hour to you, governor. Tip top. Thank you very much. That was actually, if anyone watches the musical version of Scrooge, I think it was like 1960s or 70s. No, it must have been 70s. In the 70s, there was like a musical version of the Christmas Carol movie. I can't remember what it's called. It's probably just called Christmas Carol. That has a lot of songs in it. And it has a few bangers in it, and that was one of my favorites. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. And they're singing about Scrooge dying, but it's really funny. Anyway, the movie's great. If you want a good Christmas Carol, watch the musical. Really good. I'm surprised it's not as well known. Anyway. Okay, so is it just called A Christmas Carol? Okay, that makes sense. They're probably all called A Christmas Carol. So, get the worksheet for today. The worksheet has an additional 14 sentences. That's more than we're even doing in the lesson today. It's on my Patreon page, and you can get it for any of the donation tiers. If you are just one of my supporters, you get all of the worksheets and outlines. A small announcement is that next Sunday will be the last live class until August, because I'm going to be going to Korea at the end of this month. So that's why I might be having my fan meetup at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. But this will be the next Sunday will be the last live class. So I might do an extra live stream after that if I can, like the Sunday right before I go to Korea. But that will be the last actual class will be coming up next Sunday. So it's just today and next Sunday, and that's it. Nothing else until August. I'll do live streams while I'm in Korea, but it won't be like a class. Okay. Before we talk about the form today, there are two verbs that we have to quickly review. These two verbs are not the same. 그렇다 and kuroda. Now, 그렇다 is a descriptive verb, and it means to be so, or to be like that. And you probably already know this one, because this is the one that you'll use when you say like 그래, 그래요, like that. kuroda, however, is an action verb. And it doesn't mean to be so, but it means to do so. Basically like saying to act like that. Like if you're watching a drama and the character says, 오빠, 왜 그래? That's this one. Why are you doing that? Why are you acting like that? Why are you being like that? Come on, bro. What's up? How come you're being like that? Like that. But it actually has a second meaning too, because what it actually means is 그렇게 하다. To do like that. To do so. But if you remember from quoting, you can also use 하다 as a way to say something. So, kuroda also means to say that. Because 그렇게 하다 can mean 그렇게 말하다. So it can mean both to do that, like to act like that, or to say that. 방금 왜 그랬어? Why did you just say that? 왜 그러는 거야? Why are you saying that? Why are you acting like that? Like that. So these both work a little bit differently. But if you noticed, both of these conjugate the same way. 그래 or 그래요. So because of that, you might not know if a verb is kuroda or 그렇다 just by seeing 그래 or 그래요 or past tense, 그랬어요, for example. You have to know by the context. Is someone talking about an action, like doing something or saying something? Or are they just describing something, like it is like that? 그래요? If you say something and someone replies, 그래요? It's like, really? But literally it's like, is that so? So this one would be 그렇다 because it's a descriptive verb. So it's 그렇다, to be so. 왜 그래요? This could be, why is it like that? But if you're saying it to a person, it's more like, why are you doing that? Or maybe, why are you saying that? Okay, we just needed this really quick review before we go over the actual grammar forms we're going to be using, because there are 3 forms that we need to talk about. The first form we're going to talk about is the most basic way that you might learn how to use these verbs. And the second and third ways are a hidden grammar form that you probably won't find anywhere else, but is commonly used in Korean. So let's talk about the basic one first. Okay, let me just check the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. 왜 그렇게 어려워요? Yeah, why is it so hard? Exactly. So, okay. So this is the very basic way. You might have learned this before. You take a quoting plain form, which is basically just plain form, but there's one difference. When you use the verb 이다, you get 이라고 after a consonant or 라고 after a vowel. That's really the only difference, as well as 아니다, to not be, becomes 아니라고. Besides that, it's just the plain form. So 하다 becomes 한다. 가다 is 간다. 먹다, to eat, is 먹는다, 먹는다. That's it. You should already know the plain form. If you don't know any quoting, though, this won't make sense. But assuming that you know quoting, you just take the regular quoting plain form as normal with 고, and instead of using 하다 for to say, or 말하다, you just use the verb kuroda. Because remember, kuroda means 그렇게 하다, and 하다 can be used to say something with a quote. So, something something cool, 그렇게 말하다. So someone said that. Quote. In English, we can say that someone said, I'm not going, or someone said that I'm not going. It's the same thing. Well, this is mostly the exact same thing. So this is technically the same as just using the regular quoting form. So someone said something. However, there is a slight difference between using kuroda instead of hada, and that is this form is only used in spoken, informal, everyday conversation. It is not used in formal speech, and it doesn't appear a lot in writing. Informal, spoken, everyday speech. It does not sound very proper. It's not rude, but it doesn't sound like official or formal. Because of that, you might see a lesson about this sometimes, but it's not the one you're going to learn first. This is like the bonus round after you've already mastered quoting. It's like, all right, here you go. I'll throw you another bone. You can do this. Okay, so I'm going to give you just 2 examples of this form because it's not the main form I want to talk about today. So here are 2 quick examples. And there's some more in the worksheet, so make sure to get the worksheet. Okay, 철수, our friend 철수. 철수도. So also 철수, 가다, to go. 갈 수 있다, can go. 갈 수 있다 is the plain form. 갈 수 있다고 그랬어요, past tense. So 철수 also 그랬어요, 말했어요. He also said that, quote, he can go. So 철수 said he can go too. 철수도 갈 수 있다고 그랬어요. 철수도 갈 수 있다고 그랬어요. So 철수 said that he can also go. Okay, here's 철수 again. 철수가 한국에, so in Korea, 이미, already, 도착하다 is to arrive. In this case, the plain form of 도착하다 in the past tense, not 도착한다, but 도착했다. 도착했다고. So once we see 고 after a plain form, we know it's going to be a quote. 도착했다고 그랬어요. Same as saying 말했어요. So 철수 그랬어요. He said that. What did he say? 한국에 이미 도착했다. He already arrived in Korea. 철수가 한국에 이미 도착했다고 그랬어요. So 철수 said that he already arrived in Korea. Again, this form is only for speech, informal speech. It's not formal, and it's only more for like everyday conversations. Besides that, though, it has the same meaning as 말하다, like 그렇게 말하다. Okay, that is not the form, though, that I wanted to teach you, because that's just a single verb. That's not cool. You can learn that when you learn about quotes. We're going to be learning about a hidden meaning of these 2 verbs that you probably didn't know, but once you learn, you're going to see them everywhere. I feel kind of special because I've literally never found a single lesson about these verbs before. Okay. What is this? This looks really similar to what we just did. You're going to be attaching 고, kuroda again. However, instead of attaching it after a quote, we're just attaching it after an action verb stem. So like 하다, to do, is just 하고, not 한다고 or 했다고. 하고, kuroda. This will conjugate the same way. 먹다, to eat. 먹고 그러다. There are no exceptions to this. It's very easy to make. So then, what is this form? What is this form? Write it up, and then I'm going to give you a sentence before we talk about what it is. I think it'll make more sense. I'll give you a second, write it up, and then I'm going to erase it. It sounds spooky. It's scary. Just to give you a warning beforehand. It's a little scary. Those of you who have trauma from learning Korean, you might want to sit this one out. Margaret is saying, pronounce it as L, R. I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you asking about how to pronounce this letter? It's never an R or an L because it's not made in either of those mouth positions, even at the beginning or the end. It's actually made with the D, the letter D as in dog, the D tongue position. So if you make it in the D tongue position, that's the sound. It'll sound like an L or an R sometimes, depending on where it is the word, but it's never created that way. 술 먹고 그러다 넘어진다. Okay? But you also could just say 술 먹다 넘어진다. Same thing. But you can use it this way. Okay. 들어본 적 있는 것 같은데 의미는 모르겠네요. Yeah, it's simple, but it's hidden. It's a hidden grammar form. By hidden, I mean you'll see it a lot, but people won't acknowledge it's a grammar form, if that makes sense. And why I'm saying that is because you just won't find any lessons explaining it. But now you will. Let me write up a quick example. 여기서. Oops. So what is this form? Well, here's a quick example. 저는, so I, 가끔씩, 가끔, sometimes. 여기서, so something's happening here because we have 서. So there's some sort of action happening here. 잠자다 is to sleep, literally to sleep, a sleep, but that's just sleep. 잠도 자고, so I even sleep here. 자고, sleep, and 그래요. This is kuroda because it is after an action verb, 자다. So kuroda, to do so or to say so. Well, we're not going to be using it to mean to say so here because we're not using it with a quote. It's just 그렇게 하다. Remember, so 잠도 자고 그렇게 해요 is what we're saying. 그렇게 해요. I do that. So 저는 가끔씩 여기서 잠도 자고 그래요. So sometimes I sleep here too. And I do that is what it means, literally. This form, 고 그러다, after an action verb, is only used again in spoken, informal, everyday conversation. It's not formal. So just like kuroda with quotes, what it is it's used to finish explaining something basically, but without giving any details. Because what we're saying here is, I do that, and yeah, I do that. 하고 그렇게 해요. Yeah, I do that, and that's what I do. You're basically yada yada over something. You're like yada yadaing over something that happens or happened. So again, it's for an action. So it has the nuance. Wow, this pen's dead. I haven't used this pen in like 3 months. Let's get a new one. So it has the nuance of what we do in English when we say something and then we maybe finish the sentence with saying like, and yeah, we didn't say anything. We're just like, that's it. Or like, or maybe, and stuff. I'm not really saying what stuff is, but you know, stuff like that. 저는 가끔씩 여기서 잠도 자고 그래요. So if we don't use this form, it's saying sometimes I even sleep there. 고 그래요 and stuff. You're not really saying there's anything else specifically. You're just kind of saying, that's all I'm explaining, you know. Yeah, like that. So I sleep there and stuff, you know. Sometimes I even like sleep there and stuff. It's not saying like you're doing a bunch of other things. It's just saying, yeah, like that's what I do. I'm explaining something. 저는 가끔씩 여기서 잠도 자고 그래요. So sometimes I even sleep here and stuff. So that's what this form is. And the reason it's hidden is because it's only used in speech. This isn't a form that you're going to see used in like proper Korean. No one's going to teach it because, again, it's not like, it doesn't have a literal clear meaning that you can explain to someone learning Korean. And a beginner certainly wouldn't get this form because they're still learning how to just conjugate this stuff. But you'll hear it in real Korean conversations. Personally, though, I don't think it's a very difficult form. So that's why I classify it as intermediate and not advanced. But if you can use this form, it's really advanced, I would say, in that you won't hear learners ever use this form. I've never heard learners use this form before, but I'll hear Koreans use it all the time. Very grateful. I learned this a bit with my professor. It feels good to refresh. Nice. Nice. I'm glad you had a teacher that was talking about these types of things. Now I fear there are many hidden forms. There are a lot of hidden forms, but that's a good thing because the nice thing about the hidden forms in Korean, and there are a lot, I try to cover them wherever I can. The good thing is that you don't need them to speak Korean, and that even if you never learn this form, you would still kind of get it. Like if someone said, 저는 가끔씩 여기서 잠도 자고 그래요, and you didn't know the 그래요 form, you didn't know what that means, you would understand the whole sentence. Anyway, you'd get up to here, 잠도 자고 그래요. You probably would think this. Yeah, I sleep here sometimes too. 그래요. Yeah. You might not get exactly what's going on, but you'll still get the sentence and you can reply. 여기서 잠 자요? 잠 잔다고요? 여기서 잠을 자요? You'd get it. You can still reply to them. They would never know that you didn't 100% understand what this means because it's often used as forms that you're familiar with. Like 그래요 means yeah. You might see this 그래서, therefore, 그러니까, because of that, 그런데, but. So you see it conjugated in ways that you recognize without realizing this is a separate grammar form. That's why it's hidden, because you could see this and not understand it's a separate grammar form and still understand 100% of the sentence. But now you do. You know the grammar form's secrets. It can't hide from us anymore. Been waiting to expose this form for years. Again, it's like ending a sentence by saying, and yeah, or maybe like. So, I like sleep here sometimes. Or maybe I sleep here sometimes and stuff. Again, do not use this on your TOPIK test or in an essay. Don't use it in a formal situation. Don't use it when you're giving a speech. Although it could be in a speech if it's like it's supposed to be an informal, like friendly tone. But you'll hear your friends using it a lot. So let's do a few more examples. And it doesn't have to come at the end of the sentence, but I'm using all the examples where it comes at the end for this. But if you check out the worksheet, you'll see a lot of uses where it's in the middle of a sentence too. Same thing. And knowing is half the battle. Pork chop sandwiches. 곤하다. Yeah, that's something that you occasionally do. That's cool. I always wondered about this exactly. Yeah, so yeah, I think you probably would understand this form even if you didn't learn it, which is why it's, I think it's good to know even for beginners. It's good to be aware of it. Billy just reminded me of the meme with the stressed guy with the board with the red string. Yeah, what was that? It's always sunny in Philadelphia. I think that's it. Isn't that Charlie doing like, I can't remember his character. But anyway, yeah, that guy. Like with all the conspiracies. Yeah, you all got to listen to my lesson because of the implication, right? So, 요즘도. So, 요즘 is like lately, nowadays. So, nowadays too, or basically just these days still, or just still. 새벽 is after midnight. So, this would be like in the morning, past midnight. 2시. So, 새벽 2시 is like 2 in the morning. 요가 하다, to do yoga. So, 요즘도 새벽 2시에 요가하고 그래? So, are you still doing like yoga? Or are you still doing yoga and stuff at like 2 in the morning? 요즘도 새벽 2시에 요가하고 그래? Again, you don't need this form. You could just say 요가하고 있어? 요가해? But it's more implying that like, like that and stuff without giving any extra details. 요즘도 새벽 2시에 요가하고 그래? So are you still doing like yoga and stuff at 2 in the morning? Are you still like doing yoga at 2 in the morning? Like that. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a moment. Let me check the chat. Yeah, Charlie, okay. I've never watched any full episodes of that show, but I've seen so many clips that I know I get the show. I get it. How do I casually incorporate this into my vocab with my 친구들? So you simply do what I've explained. You take action verb stem, you attach 고, and then kuroda, which you conjugate however you want. You can just add it at the end of a regular sentence, but you don't need to unless you need to add like and stuff like that to your sentence. If you're not yet intermediate, you're probably not yet making sentences to even do it. So I wouldn't worry about it, but at least you can be able to understand it if someone else uses it. They will probably not use it to you though, I'll say, because Koreans know this is a spoken kind of like a not serious form, like more of a relaxed everyday expression. And you're not going to hear a lot of this stuff from Koreans speaking Korean to people who they don't think speak Korean fluently. You'd have to like eavesdrop on a conversation or watch people talking in real life to be able to pick up on this sort of stuff. Koreans will typically try to speak a little simpler to foreigners. 요가를 하곤 해요. Okay. Whew. Okay. Like running out of space. Can I fit this on here? We have to rewrite it because otherwise it's not going to fit. Okay. 저는 거기가 너무 좋아서. So 거기, over there, that place, 너무 좋아. I love it so much. So because I love it so much, 주말마다. 주말 is weekend, 마다 is each. So each and every weekend, 가고 있어요. So just look at that part first. 가고 있어요. I'm going there every single week because I like it so much. Literally. 저는 거기가 너무 좋아서 주말마다 가고 그러고 있어요. In this case, it's 그러고 있어요. Progressive tense, 그러다. So I am going there every weekend because I like it so much and stuff. And yeah, like I'm going there every single weekend because I like it so much. 저는 거기가 너무 좋아서 주말마다 가고 그러고 있어요. I like that place so much that I'm going like every week and stuff. I'm like going. Basically, it doesn't add any meaning to the sentence. It just has nuance that there's something else. I'm just explaining to you, like, yeah, like, you know, I'm going there like every week. So because of that, it's only used in speech. So I like it so much that, yeah, like I'm going there every week. It also makes the sentence a little bit longer. Because one thing is if you're explaining something to someone and they're like, oh, you like that place? And you just reply, yes, I like it. It's kind of like you want to talk more sometimes. You want to give them more details. So this is a way also to make your sentence a little bit longer. It sounds like you're giving them a full explanation when you're just telling them one piece of information. So if you just said, 저는 거기가 너무 좋아서 주말마다 가고 있어요. 너무 좋아서 주말마다 가고 있어요. Is okay. I like it so much I'm going every weekend. But it's like, it makes it longer. Like, yeah, I like it so much, you know, I'm just like going there every single weekend. Sounds like you're trying more to explain stuff, right? Even though you're saying the exact same information. So it makes your explanation seem like you want to tell them more without having to provide any extra information. In that way, I think it's really useful. Okay, one more sentence. And then we'll go on to our next hidden form, which is also super hidden for a different reason. Make sure I wrote everything. 실수도 하고 그랬어요. Okay. 너무 바빠서. So 바쁘다, to be busy. So I was so busy. We know it's was because the end is past tense. 너무 바빠서. Because I was so busy. 먹으면서. 먹다 is to eat. So 면서 is while eating. 세수 is to wash up. Like wash your face. Wash your hands and your face. Like that. 세수도 하고. So I'm even washing my face. 그랬어요. And that's what I did. So because I was so busy, I was even like washing my face while I was eating. 너무 바빠서 먹으면서 세수도 하고 그랬어요. I was so busy that I was even like washing my face while I was eating. 너무 바빠서 먹으면서 세수도 하고 그랬어요. 너무 바빠서 먹으면서 세수도 하고 그랬어요. Yeah, I was so busy. I was even like just washing my face while I was eating. Can you believe that? Like I was so busy, basically. Instead of just saying 너무 바빠서 먹으면서 세수도 했어요. You're not just saying I was so busy. I was even washing my face while eating. You're saying I was so busy. I was like even, you know, washing my face and stuff while I was eating. It just has it just sounds longer. It sounds like you're explaining more things without saying anything extra. Okay. So we saw kuroda. We saw kuroda just now with action verb stems. But remember, kurota is a descriptive verb. So if you're using a descriptive verb, you can do the exact same thing by just using kurota instead of kuroda. So what's the difference if they both conjugate the exact same way? Well, sometimes they conjugate a little bit differently, but in the yo form, they do both conjugate as kureo. So the only time you'll be able to tell which form it's using is if you hear it conjugated in a different way. Now, I do have a couple examples of different conjugations here, which you'll get to see. But that's the difference, is that if you're using an action verb, you use kuroda. If you're using a descriptive verb, you use kurota. But the way the forms work is the exact same thing. Again, only informal, everyday speech, not formal usage, and it's used for finishing explaining something basically without giving any details. You can translate it as like, and yeah, or like, or and stuff. Besides that, it's the exact same form. So why don't we just go straight into an example sentence? The reason that one's hidden so well is just because even if you learned one form or the other, you might not know which one it is because they conjugate the same way in the yo form. So you might not realize it's two separate forms. Okay. 역시, as I expected, or like, yeah, I knew it, of course. 역시 이건, 이것은. So this thing, in this case, it's food. 이건, so this is 언제 먹어도. 먹어도 is even if you eat. 언제, when. So whenever you eat it, 맛있다, to be delicious. So if we just look at this part here so far, 역시 이건 언제 먹어도 맛있어. In this case, it ends with 그렇죠. So 이건 언제 먹어도 맛있죠. So you're saying, man, I knew it. This thing's always good no matter when you eat it. You know some food like that? Like no matter when you eat it, it always tastes good. For me, like tacos. You can have tacos like in the morning. You can have tacos at like 3 a.m. It's good all the time. 언제 먹어도 맛있죠. It's good whenever you eat it. 역시 이건 언제 먹어도 맛있고 그렇죠. So, yeah, I knew it. This stuff, whatever you're eating, is delicious no matter when you eat it, right? But because we're using 맛있고 그렇죠 instead of just 맛있죠, it's like saying, man, this is just like good no matter when you eat it, huh? So it has that meaning of like or, and stuff. Man, this is just good. Like, whenever you eat it, basically. Man, this is, as expected, this is like delicious no matter when you eat it, right? You can translate this, though, any way you'd like. You don't really need to translate this if you can't come up with a way. Just know that what it does is adds that sort of feeling that you're explaining something without giving any extra info. Info, without giving any extra information. 역시 이건 언제 먹어도 맛있고 그렇죠. Yeah, oh man, this stuff's good no matter when you eat it, huh? This stuff's good no matter when you eat it. I'm not sure where to stick the like into the English sentence, but you get what it means, right? Taco Bell has gone downhill. Have they ever been uphill, to be fair? I like Taco Bell as much as the next person, but they've never really been like high quality food. It's always been like, I hate my digestive system today. Okay. 수업이 재밌고 그래요. Ruchi, I really recommend Ruchi to go to check out my beginner course, since a lot of the questions would be answered in the first, like somewhere in the first 30, or at least the first half of the course. We'll have a lot of these things. Don't trash the bell. I'm not trashing the bell. It just, you got it. It's your stomach. It's not meant to be consumed. It's meant to be smelled and experienced, not really eaten. And you don't want to get too much. But I do really like, if I do go there, which I will maybe like once every 2 years, I'll get Taco Bell. I really like the Doritos tacos. The Doritos taco shells are just, Whoever thought of that needs to be the CEO of Taco Bell. So for anyone who doesn't know, Taco Bell is like basically a taco franchise. It's like the McDonald's for Taco Bells in the US. It's not that cheap, but what makes them unique is they have a lot of interesting food, like Mexican food. I should have said that in the beginning. It's Mexican. They have a lot of interesting dishes that you can't find at other actual restaurants. They like have their own food. Like they have fries that come with nacho cheese, so you get like nacho fries. They have taco shells that are made out of Dorito chips. Like those nacho chips. It's the best. Like tacos should have been invented with that. Go back thousands of years and tell all the people who made tacos, like, you're doing it wrong. You got to make it from a Dorito. Those are great. But they charge like $3 each almost. It's like, come on. This costs you like 10 cents, maybe less. Maybe like 5 cents for each shell. Why are you charging me this much for it? But they're still good. And that's still my favorite kind. Crunchwrap Supreme? Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to Taco Bell later out of principle. All right. All fight. Taco Bell used to be good back in the day. Really? When is back in the day? Because although I don't get it that much. Like I said, I might get it once every 2 years. Soggy Slop, that might be just your franchise is not doing a good job, but I don't know. I usually only order the crunchy tacos and the cheap burritos. They used to have a really good one. They'd have it was bean and cheese burrito, but it would have Fritos inside of it. And then the whole thing would be toasted on both sides. They used to have a burrito like that. It was like $2 and it was really good. They would put, like I said, basically you open it up, you put Fritos, which are like, crunchy chips, like small strips. And then it would be like crunchy and cheesy and it was really good. And then you cover that with a bunch of hot sauce. But they stopped selling those for whatever reason. You can still make them though, if you customize a different burrito to be toasted and then you add Fritos into it yourself, because they used to have it where you can customize it to make it anyway that way, but they found out people were doing that, so they removed the option to even make it again. But you can still do it yourself. Just buy a bag of Fritos at like the dollar store, get the off-brand ones, add your own Fritos into it, close it up. That's all I get at Taco Bell though. I don't get anything else. I don't get like Baja Blast or whatever desserts they have. I guess I got an iron stomach. Tequiro, Yokiro Taco Bell. $5 would get you the whole menu. Well, yeah, don't get me started about the 90s. Subway used to be good, okay? Can we agree on that? Subway was good. I mean, I still like Subway today, but I only get it with coupons. I would never touch that for the prices they charge. Like $14 for a footlong that has barely anything in it. Are you kidding me? $6 subs? Yeah, that's worth it. It's worth $6. Yeah, Subway footlongs were like actually a foot long. Maybe they still are, but they keep getting like thinner and smaller. It used to be like, nowadays, if you want the older Subway, you can go to Jersey Mike's, which I think is pretty good. I don't know if everyone has Jersey Mike's in your state. I don't know where they are. They're in California. It's basically what Subway used to be in the 80s, where you actually get fresh ingredients and like lots of bread, and it's really good and big. And they don't charge you too much for it. It is more than Subway, but you actually get what you're paying for, I feel like. They're not just trying to nickel and dime you. Anyway. This is what I would say about maybe Jersey Mike's. I think Jersey Mike's, I'll give them a free shout out. You guys make some good stuff. Decent prices. 역시 이건 언제 먹어도 맛있고 그래요. 맛있고 그렇죠. This is just good whenever you have it, huh? Okay. This might have a form. If you're like a new beginner, this might have a form you don't know. 그렇긴 해요. I'll talk about that though in a second. But just let's focus on the top part. 10살, 10 years old. 치고는, or 치고, is how you say for, as in something is remarkable for, despite being whatever is before it. In this case, for a 10-year-old, 10살 치고는, for 10 years old, 키가 작다 is to be short in stature. 키 is your height, your stature. 키가 좀 작고 그렇긴 해요. So, for a 10-year-old, let's just look at this part. 키가 좀 작아요. They're a bit short for a 10-year-old. 작고 그렇긴 해요. So this is short for 그렇기는 해요. But if you don't know this form, it just adds more emphasis to whatever verb you're using it after. Like, yeah, they are. It's the same though as 그래요, essentially. But it has the nuance of adding emphasis to whatever verb. Like, 먹다, to eat. 먹긴 해요. Well, I eat it. 좋아하다, 좋아하긴 해요. Well, I like it. Like that. In this case, 그렇긴, they are. 그렇긴 해요. So they are, a bit short for a 10-year-old is what you get. That nuance is the difference. Yeah, they are a bit short for a 10-year-old. 10살 치고는 키가 좀 작고 그렇긴 해요. Yeah, they are a bit short and stuff for a 10-year-old is what it means. They are a bit short, for like a 10-year-old. It just adds that feeling of like I'm explaining a little bit more, but again, it has the same meaning as saying 키가 좀 작긴 해요. They're a bit short for a 10-year-old, like that. 10살 치고는 키가 좀 작고 그렇긴 해요. Yeah, for a 10-year-old, they are a bit short and stuff. They're a bit short, like that. Taco Casa in Texas is still one selling the OG Taco Bell. Okay. Subway and KFC. KFC, if you like KFC, get yourself to Korea. Get a flight to Korea today. KFC in Korea is what you imagine KFC tastes like before you actually go to KFC and you remember it doesn't. And then forget again in a week later and be like, oh, I want some more KFC. That was good. No. KFC in Korea is what you think KFC tastes like. And it's very consistent. I've never had bad KFC in Korea, but I've had bad KFC in the US a couple times. Once that made me sick. But yeah, KFC in Korea is more competitive. They're comparing with, Korea has a lot of good chicken franchises. People won't go there if it's not consistent and good. So they have to step up their game in Korea. Mike's Way. Yeah, I usually get it Mike's Way. I think it's pretty good with the stuff on top. I don't get it like that if I'm going to save it. Like if I'm going to go on a picnic somewhere and I have to drive for an hour or so, then I won't get that just so it doesn't get wet. But if I'm going to eat it right there, they get, some of the, I don't know what it is, like oil and vinegar. Yeah, it's just really good. A bit short for a stormtrooper. Yeah, you can say stormtrooper 치고는 키가 좀 작고 그렇긴 해요. Aren't you? But 키가 좀 작고 그렇죠. You're a bit short for a stormtrooper, aren't you? Right? That was that must have been the Korean dub of the Star Wars movies. I've seen Subway in so many Korean dramas. No. Subway paid so much dang money to be featured in Korean dramas from like 10 years ago or so. I think it really picked up in like 2017, 2018 especially. Korea decided to dump their entire GDP into Subway's PR, and they featured it in like every single drama was having the character sit down in a Subway and order something and then be like, this Subway is delicious. I love getting Subway, don't you? Wow, these sandwiches taste so fresh. Look at that smell. Only 500 calories. I could eat this all day. My favorite, the BMT sandwich. Gotta get that special for $7.99. Practically like this level of advertising in Korea. Korean Subway is not Subway in the US because all of the flavors are different. I cannot stomach Subway in Korea. Like, I've had it twice in Korea and I felt sick both times. The reason is they're not it's not food poisoning or anything like that. They're fine. They adapted Subway to Korean tastes, and Korean tastes for Subway are wrong. That's my opinion, okay? But I'm saying it. It's wrong. They make the sauces that they put on Subway in Korea by default are sweet. The bread is slightly sweet. And to make matters worse, the reason why they are not able to the reason why they are sinning is because they don't give you very much toppings. Like, they do this in the US sometimes too. You say, "Oh, can I please get some more olives, sir? Just a little more?" And they'll be like, "More?" But in the US, they'll give you like a little handful. In Korea, like, you ask for more olives, they'll be like they're chopping up something with like a credit card. They'll give you like the essence of the olive. They really skimp on the toppings to save money. And I just felt like so disappointed. Like, I've never been more disappointed by a franchise in Korea, a version of a franchise in Korea, than I was at Subway. Okay, if you are Subway in Korea and you've changed in the past 6 years since I've tried you, maybe you're different now. Contact me. I'm not apologizing for what I'm saying right now, though, but I hate you. Please give me an option that's not sweet. I want savory bread. I want savory sauces. I don't want sweet. But every time I went there in the past, and then the last 2 times specifically I went there, it was like a disappointment. I'd rather get okay, I'm trashing them too much. I'm not sorry though. But yeah. If you like Subway in Korea, good for you. A lot of my Korean friends like Subway in Korea. It's not for me. My passport will soon be revoked from South Korea. You know what? It'll be worth it. Okay. That was a big sidetrack there. McDonald's, you know what? I'm actually going to give McDonald's a pass. McDonald's in Korea is exactly as bad as it is in the US. Which is good, right? Like, no one goes to McDonald's because it's your favorite place to get a hamburger. Everyone goes there because it's fast and it's consistent. I'm not a fan. I never go to McDonald's in the US, but in Korea, I go like every week because it tastes like a real McDonald's hamburger in the US, right? Which is, it's palatable. It's okay. It's good. And it's not too expensive. Some of the other franchises move into Korea and they adapt their recipes for Korean tastes. And that makes it doesn't really match for an American's taste. I had that with Shake Shack. Oh my God. Oh, I need to get back on track or else we're going to talk about that forever. I take it back. Subway, you know what? Subway, you get a pass for a second. The king of disappointment. Actually, I have to take that crown and give it to Shake Shack. That was the worst experience I ever had at a franchise. A foreign franchise in Korea was a Shake Shack. It was not the only it was bad. For one, they had no shakes. They didn't have a shake machine. So it was just a shack, basically. The fries, I swear, were microwaved. I got to write up the sentence or else we're never getting to this. The burgers were okay. The burgers were like mid, like 3 out of 5 stars. Like, I like the burger. It was okay. The fries, I swear they were microwaved, frozen, crinkle cut fries. Like you'd get from Walmart in the bottom aisle. They'd be like $3 and you'd get like 2 pounds of them. I swear they were those. Not even joking. They were those. My Korean friend who went with me didn't even eat them. Like, had one and like, nah, left them on the table. Yeah, no shakes though is pretty big deal killer considering it's called Shake Shack. I went there when they were brand new, so this is no excuse. This was their grand opening in Gangnam, their Gangnam branch. I don't know if they're still there. I don't know about the other locations, but this was like they should have been on their game, right? It was busy. We had to wait. Never went back again. It's like, nope, you lost. I don't know what happened that day. And I don't know why I'm talking about this stuff. I am a Korean teacher. What am I doing? 요즘도. So again, nowadays too, or still. 코가 가렵다. 가렵다 is to be like itchy. 코, your nose. 코가 가려워요. Basically, 코가 가렵고 그래요. Lately, my like nose is itchy and stuff. What does that and stuff mean in English? Absolutely nothing. Don't read into this too much. Don't think about it too much. Don't hurt your brain because there's really nothing that you're saying. You're just saying 코가 가렵고 그렇게 그래요. Like it is. Yeah, you know, it's just itchy and it is. Yeah, 그래요. It's like that. It's itchy and like that is what you're saying. It does nothing to the meaning of the sentence. 요즘도 코가 가렵고 그래요. My nose is still itchy and stuff these days. That's it. Let me check the chat. Someone said Burger King is better than McDonald's. This is only my opinion. Only my opinion. I'm not going to diss Burger King. I actually don't go there, but I don't like it very much. I'm not a fan of their onion rings. I like onion rings. I just don't like theirs very much. And their it's not a Big Mac. It's a Whopper, right? I don't like the Whopper too much. Something about it. I'm not a fan of the Whopper. I like Carl's Jr. burgers. They're pretty good, but I just never really got into Burger King. So I can stomach it. It's okay. I'm not going to like rant about it, but I don't like it that much. But if you do prefer it, you're not alone. A lot of people have told me the same thing. Tim Hortons. So Tim Hortons, yes, actually I have been to Tim Hortons before. It was disappointing to say the least. And their donuts? Like what the heck? I thought American food was sweet. You guys are all like, if there's ever like a sugar shortage, well, I know what company to look at. Oh, Eve La Fay. So 별로 라고. Remember, it's the quoting plain form. So it's not 이고, it's 이라고. But since it's after a vowel, 별로 is a vowel, 로, it's 별로 라고 그랬어요. Like that. BK's Flame Grill Beef Style. I haven't tried their other ones. Maybe their other ones are better. I've only had the Whopper at Burger King. Like in my entire life, I've only had the Whopper before. I don't know if the other ones taste different. I just wasn't a big fan. It wasn't my style. And I've given it a few shots. I've tried it more than once. Every time I'm like, it's a burger. The last time I had it was probably 10 years ago at an airport. And I was like, oh, I'll give it another chance because it's the only thing here. And I'm like, What's your favorite brand for food? I don't have a brand. Okay. Yeah, we had over 100 viewers in the stream and now it's dropped like 20 of you. It's because of my food rant. I must have offended 20 people who love Subway in Korea and Shake Shack in Korea. To those of you who have been offended and left based on food, I'm not sorry. But I hope you'll come back to the stream anyway and still learn some Korean. You don't have to like my food. You don't have to like my takes on food, though. I won't fault you. You know, everyone has their own tastes. I actually like some food that other people would find abhorrent. One of my my favorite food in Korea, period. My favorite food in Korea, all Korean food, is sundae. And while most people like sundae, Koreans, a lot of foreigners don't like it unless they've been living in Korea for a while. I think most tourists wouldn't really like this because it has a strong kind of a gamey smell to it. It's basically like animal. It's intestines stuffed with different vegetables and stuff and noodles, and it has a strong scent, but it's really good. It's my favorite food. But I also am able to enjoy things like I like sardines, I like anchovies. I actually really liked surströmming, which is supposed to be the worst smelling food in the entire world, I guess. But I really liked it. So I'm not gonna. You don't need to listen to a guy who likes surströmming tell you about which brand of food is good or not. It's just me. It's just my personal preferences. I'm a bit picky on that. And it's not just Subway or anything. I would say the same thing about any company that makes bread sweet, which is why I'm not a fan of garlic bread. Why did I write this weird both times? I'm not a fan of garlic bread in Korea for the same reason, because garlic bread in Korea is made with sugar. They make it sweet garlic. And I don't like that. I prefer savory bread for all my bread. I'm not a big fan of sweet bread. Unless it's for like a dessert item, I would never want to have that as my meal or like together with a meal. It's always like after finishing eating something, then I can have sweet bread. Okay. I do really like burgers though. I'll try any burger franchise in Korea once. But I've only found in my entire time in Korea, while I have found a lot of burger places that I enjoy eating, I've only found one that I would put on par with like really good burgers in the US. Because if you're, I'm in California, there's a burger restaurant. A restaurant sells burger, fast food place, every block. And because there's so many places that make hamburgers, everywhere is really competitive. Everywhere is good. Like, I can't think of the last time I had a bad hamburger anywhere in California. Like, I can't think of one time. And I've had a lot of burgers here. Whereas in Korea, at best, the burger's like pretty good. Like, oh, okay, I like that. But I've only had one place in Korea that I thought was like, dang, okay, this is a good burger. Like, if they sold this in the US, I would drive to it once a month. Like that level, there's one place that I know in Suwon. But other than that, it's like, okay. I don't think it's because they can't make a burger that tastes good or anything. I just think it's because my tastes aren't aligned to like what Korean people want in a hamburger. So they make them a little different. They make them perfect for Koreans, but not quite perfect to what I want. Like I prefer more savory flavors, I guess. Okay. Similar to Polish kazanka. Interesting. Thick, juicy bar burger. If you want a thick burger in Korea, that's a tall order because the best place that I found was actually a smash burger. It wasn't the smash burger chain, but it was a smash burger type of hamburger, like thin patties, and you get multiple, like 8. I had it once with 8 patties. But a thick burger, you probably can find something in Itaewon. Gangnam might have some places, but I haven't bothered to really go and find that. I've been to some expensive burger places. Like I went to one in Gangnam that people claimed tasted amazing. And I went there and I was like, it's good, but it wasn't worth the 30,000 won price tag for a meal. That's like in US dollars, that's like $23 for a burger, fries, and a drink. It wasn't worth that in my opinion. If it was half that price, I would say good. But yeah, I've kind of like given up trying to find a burger. They do have a Five Guys in Korea, which I haven't gone to. If it's like the Five Guys in the US, that could be pretty good. But I heard it's more like the Five Guys in Europe, which I guess is like a different franchise or different company. I'm not sure how that works. Okay. Back to the Korean lesson, which is what I know all of you are here for, not food. 가격, price. 가격이 너무 싸다. It's too cheap. 그러니까, because the price is too cheap. Here, 그러니까. This is the same literal meaning as 가격이 너무 싸니까. Because it's too cheap, 안 살 수가 없었어요. 안 사다. 안 사다 means to not buy. 수가 없다, cannot. In this case, 안 살 수가 없다. Cannot not buy. Couldn't not buy it. I couldn't not buy it. 가격이 너무 싸고 그러니까 안 살 수가 없었어요. So it was so cheap and stuff that I couldn't not buy it. Like it was just too cheap. How could I not buy that? 가격이 너무 싸고 그러니까 안 살 수가 없었어요. The other reason this form can be hidden is because if you look at this form without knowing it, like pretend you didn't learn this form today and I just gave you the sentence. Maybe we're talking about 살 수가 없다. We're talking about the can and can't form today. So I give you the sentence. 가격이 너무 싸고 그러니까. So it's too cheap and 그러니까 because of that 안 살 수가 없었어요. I couldn't buy it. You can understand it like that perfectly. So even if you didn't know this form, it would be right there in front of you and you would still understand the full sentence, right? 그러니까. So it's so cheap. So I couldn't not buy it, but now you know it. It's there. The price was just so cheap and stuff, so I couldn't buy it. I couldn't not buy it. The price was just so cheap and stuff that I couldn't not buy it. 가격이 너무 싸고 그러니까 안 살 수가 없었어요. How are we on time? We're great on time. Despite rambling about food, we still managed to finish the lesson in time. So that is the entire lesson for today. Let me take a quick thumbnail. I always do something like that. Now I'm going to open up for like 25 minutes. We're going to talk about something not related to Korean, which normally, I mean, we already talked about food. Really quick though, if you are a member of my Patreon, make sure to get the outline. This will be available in within 10 minutes after the stream ends. You can download the outline, which is all the sentences and explanations we did. You can also get the worksheet for the stream right now. It's on my Patreon page. You get 14 extra sentences using this form, so you get to really practice with it. A lot of them are using it in the middle of the sentence too. I decided not to do that for most of the sentences for this because I felt like putting it in the middle can be a little bit more confusing to break down the meaning. But there are a lot of examples in the worksheet of that. The next Sunday live class that we'll have a week from today will be the last class until the middle of August because I'm going to be going to Korea. I'll still do some live streams when I'm in Korea, but there won't be any of these classes. You're not going to see this whiteboard after next Sunday for several months. Yeah, with that, let's just kind of take a few questions. Me in Korea. Yeah, Billy said you guys suck. Oh, yes. Please do that. I'd go to Five Guys every day if I could afford it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Five Guys is good. I can't say anything bad about their flavor. They're really good, but you pay for it and you pay more than I think you should because they price themselves even more than a restaurant. Like I could go down to a restaurant and get a burger for $10 to $15 for a really big and fancy one. They have one that's at a different restaurant called Red Robin. It's here in California. It's just like a hamburger diner type of restaurant, and they specialize in different hamburgers. It's pretty good. The reason I like it though is because they give you unlimited steak fries, and their steak fries are good, and it's actually unlimited. You just keep getting more and more. But anyway, there's a burger they have that's $20. That's this big. It's ridiculously big for $20, but their regular burgers are 10 to 15. Five Guys is out here charging $16 for a burger, and they're smaller than that, and it's a fast food place. It's not like a restaurant. They're not giving you sides for free. Red Robin, that includes the fries and a drink too, sometimes depending on the day. So I don't know who they're marketing to. They need to lower their prices because if they were more affordable, if they price themselves the same as a restaurant, I'd go there probably once every couple months. But because they don't, I don't remember the last time I went there. It's probably 4 years ago. And before that was probably even longer. So, but I like their food. It's really good. Five Guys cost roughly $75,000. Wow. Well, that's if you order a shake. I'm just talking about the burger. Let's not go that extreme. Their shakes are good though. A lot of places have shakes that aren't legitimate. They taste like they're just they just use the soft serve really quick. But that actually tastes like a shake. If you ever go to one of my wrestling shows in Korea, I will specifically point this conversation out in a promo. Wrestling sponsored by Subway. You guys suck. That's what you're going to say? I don't want to say the company is bad because I don't know about the company enough. But they are catered to Korean tastes. So you won't find Koreans who don't like them. I haven't heard any Koreans who say they don't like Subway. It's just me, okay? I'm just weird like that. I'm right, but I'm just weird like that. I don't know. I just don't like sweet things in my savory things. You know, I don't want to have cake for lunch unless I specifically wanted to have cake for lunch, right? I have sweet things when I want them to be sweet. I don't want sweet things in my savory food, which is also why I'm not a fan of a lot of types of Korean pasta. I like Korean pasta, but if you get Korean pasta, I make sure to get the Italian type of Korean pasta, which they have Italian restaurants, or there are some that will serve like Korean style. And the reason is the Korean style pasta is typically a little sweeter. Like the cream pasta is a bit sweet. The regular tomato pasta is a little bit sweet, and it's good. But if I wanted that, I make sure I go into it knowing that, like, hey, this is going to be a sweet version, and that's okay. But if I expect it to be savory and it's sweet, I'm like, I just don't want it. Illegitimate shake. If we're talking sponsorships, get me out of this basement. Yeah. So today's live stream is brought... Okay, this man in the same hat and shirt for the last month says Koreans don't understand real American Subway. Oh, hey, Chika Baduk. Travel budget. That's almost enough to buy me an order of fries at Five Guys. My goodness. Make sure I spell your name perfectly. Thank you so much. You are automatically my producer for this live stream. Means you get your name at the end. Because everyone, you know, when businesses are thinking, who should I work with? They watch my live stream abridged and they see the person's name at the end who has a special thanks, and they're like, it's valuable promotion. No, thank you so much. You're too kind. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't given Subway a fair shakedown though. Like, it's possible they have types that I would like, but every time I go there, the ones that I picked were the wrong ones. So they might actually be like, hey, we actually have one that's more savory. You just ask for this. Have them do this. It'll taste just like the US. That would be cool. But every time I've gotten it, it wasn't cool. Which is actually why I like Isaac Toast in Korea, because Isaac Toast is, Isaac Toast is different. I'm not a fan of the company Isaac Toast. They're kind of weird, but the food is great. It's priced fair. It's just a sandwich, and they have like, it's a slice of ham, an egg which has corn and sugar and cheese, and then they put this kiwi sauce on it, so it's a little bit sweet. They have different types as well. They always have new items every year. They'll change out the menu. I'm actually upset though, they stopped selling kiwi juice, which was really good. I don't know why, what insane person told them to cut that off their menu. That was one of my favorite things. But anyway, Isaac Toast is good because it's sweet, but I expect it to be. It's more of like, I want something for my meal today that's a bit sweet, that'll still fill me up. Which in that case, it's good if I want that. And it's so different than any other sandwiches that I'll accept it despite it not being that savory. It still has a savory flavor though, from the egg and the ham and stuff like that, but it is more of a sweet sort of, like the main flavor of it. It's like a sweet vibe, but I really like them and they're consistent. I've never had a bad Isaac Toast, never once in my entire life. And I get that like every week because it's cheap. Never once had a bad experience there. Company's a little bit strange, I said, but the food is great. Billy, I went to On the Border. The pork tasted like pure... Yeah, On the Border is the pork tasted like pure sugar. They have a knockoff of Chipotle in Korea called kuchara, I believe. I went there once because if you feel like Chipotle, sometimes you do. You're like, I just want something like, I want a burrito, right? Where do you go for a burrito? Well, you can go to Taco Bell, but if you want an actual burrito, you probably would go like Tex-Mex style. You'd go to Chipotle. Obviously, it's not like real Mexican food, but it's pretty good. And Korea has their own version, although they might be getting a real Chipotle. But anyway, they have like their own version of it, which looks like Chipotle. And I went there and it's cheap. It's actually cheaper than Chipotle. I think it was like 7,000 or 8,000 one for a bowl, which would be like $6 in US dollars. Like, you're not going to get a bowl for $6 at Chipotle. But anyway, so it was really cheap. And I went there, looks just like Chipotle. You pick your items the same way. They have everything in front. I sat down, smells really good, tastes like, It was like it tastes good, but nothing about it tasted like Chipotle. It kind of felt like they went to a professional chef and showed them a photo of Chipotle and been like, we make this. We're going to make this for our customers. And then the chef who's never had Mexican food in his life either, or her life, they're like, okay, I can do it. They make it. It looks just like the photo. And it looks and smells like Chipotle, but it's like every ingredient was different. So I liked it, but it felt like after I finished eating it, I still wanted Chipotle, if that made sense. But if you ever see a company in Korea that looks like Chipotle, that's what it is. It won't satisfy your itch for Chipotle, but it does taste pretty good and it's cheap. So overall, I would still rank them pretty high because they were cheaper. I feel like you can, if you don't meet my expectations on flavor, at least you can meet them on price. For example, if Subway were like cheap, like 6,001 for a sub, or like, 4,001 for a 6-inch, something like really cheap, I wouldn't be out here complaining about them because I'd be like, you know what? Who cares? You want a real Subway? Go to the US. Go back, get out of here. Go back to your own country, like that. But it's not. It's expensive. Is fruit expensive in Korea? Some fruits are, yes, but it depends. I would say, yeah, relatively a little bit. Chipotle is opening. Okay, I had heard something about Chipotle opening in Korea, but I didn't know if that was a rumor or if it was in the distance. Next month would be pretty cool. So Kuchara better up its game. That'll be cool though. Sometimes I want Chipotle in Korea. Like usually after I've been there for like a month, I'll feel like, oh, I kind of wish I had something like that. So I will be curious to see what it's like. In Discord, people discuss the language learning journey and give tips and sometimes talk about food. Okay. 2 video ideas, Korean Chipotle review and Google Maps review. They are allowed to operate there. I don't believe they have access to Korea's map data though. That's the issue with Google Maps, is they don't have the map data, the satellite data and stuff that Korean companies are only allowed to get. So I don't know if that'll change anything. I think I would, but I'll try it. I can try it out. If there's anything different about Google Maps now, then I can maybe do a review. If I try it out and it's still kind of weird, then I won't do a review about it. Pizza. Ijemo pizza. I have not. I have tried pizza in Busan a lot. I mean, I used to live there, but I would only get the $5, the 5001 brands of pizza. I would never try like actual restaurants except for like Pizza Hut or Domino's, like that. Have you tried durian? I have not. Doesn't smell good, but I haven't tried it yet. Is it hard to find food as a vegetarian? I think no. If you are looking for it, you can find it. If you are wondering if I go into a random restaurant, will they have vegetarian options? The answer is probably not. But if you are a vegetarian, then all you do is you search for vegetarian restaurants before you go, and you'll find plenty. Why Google Maps doesn't work? Because they don't have access to the data. The government blocks them out from that for competition. So I don't really think it's fair. I think they should be able to operate if they want to. I mean, I'm not exactly sure the details if that's the only reason why, but that's what it seems like. It's just kind of, get out of here. Let us do this kind of thing. Google Maps works great in the US, but then, yeah, because of that, every time I turn it on in Korea, it's just a terrible experience. Like it doesn't even know how to do the simplest thing, like go from here to here. Walking doesn't even work well. It doesn't have the updated information for the transportation either. Yeah, it might have been more to it than just map data though. But normally if you're going to Korea, at least as of today, I don't know if it's already updated, but just get Naver Map or Korea or Kakao Map. The other benefit is that Kakao Map and Naver Map, because they're already integrated with Korean stuff, it's only Korean stuff. You're only going to get you're going to get all the shops as well. I don't know if Google's going to want to promote the shops. They usually do something where it's like, you have to be you have to sign up with us. You have to, like, you know, promote your app, you promote your shop to appear on the app, that sort of thing. But I don't know, maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll be better. Yeah, take care, Kai. All right, I'll take a few more questions. We'll hang out for like 10, 15 more minutes and then I'll go. Lola says, I guess you wouldn't like Polish traditional pasta with strawberries and rice with strawberries. Rice with strawberries sounds interesting because I do like rice pudding, which is sweet. My mom used to make, growing up, rice pudding sometimes, and you'd add brown sugar and raisins and milk. And it was really good. And you'd use the golden raisins. And yeah, like the kind of like the brownish, the greenish kind of ones. Really good. But you like it because you expect it to be kind of sweet. So you'll have it for like a breakfast instead of oatmeal type of thing. We'd also have couscous made the same way, kind of like with brown sugar couscous for breakfast, which was good too. But yeah, you expect it to be sweet. So it's good. It's not a regular food item that you are used to having savory and then it's served sweet, but it would normally be that way. What do you dip when eating sundae? So that's a question. You're asking, do I align myself with Seoul or Busan better? And I like both because there are a few things you can dip it in. Typically, though, you'll dip it in a little bit of salt. But in Busan, you'll also see people put gochujang. They'll dip it in gochujang, I believe. I like whatever I get at the table. I like this. I also like salt. I also sometimes, if I order it together with sundaekguk, like the soup, I'll also just dip it in the soup, which is good too. But I'm not specific about that. Oh, I also really like 새우젓. 새우젓 is the brined shrimp. They're like brined baby shrimp. They're really small and they're salty. You get them in one of your Korean sides. I also like putting 새우젓 on my sundae. That's really good too. Sometimes I'll do kind of a combination. I'll put it on a spoon, lower the spoon into my sundae-guk, the soup, pull it out, and then I'll take my chopsticks and put some 새우젓 on top of that, blow it off a little bit so it's not too hot, and eat it together. Really good. But yeah, I don't discriminate on toppings for sundae. I mean, oh wait, before someone says like chocolate or something weird, I do discriminate on toppings, but all the default things you dip, I'm good with. I hear Kakao Map is good for walking. They're both okay for walking. Personally, I prefer Kakao Map, but Naver also works fine. I've had no issues with either as far as like how to get to a location. The only issues I will have are if you're traveling to a location that requires transferring like multiple times, then what it tries to do is it'll say, hey, if you go this way, because the next train will arrive in 5 minutes after you arrive, you can take this one and get there faster. But then because of the regular traffic, because the train is a little late, you'll end up missing the next connection and getting to the place you're going slower than if you'd done the regular way, which has more options. So it doesn't really think. It doesn't think like, wait a minute, what if it's late? I should probably recommend them this way because it's more guaranteed. Like, it doesn't think about that at all. So you have to use your brain a little bit and convince yourself, like, do I need to get there at this time 100%? Or can I gamble and try this way and maybe save 10 minutes? So that's the only problems I've had with the app, is that it doesn't ever consider what if the bus or train is late. Never considers that. One thing you can do in the app, though, is you can adjust how slowly you walk. And then it'll give you more or less time that it'll use as a buffer to get to the next place you have to transfer. But that only does so much. It'll only add like 2 or 3 minutes. And then sometimes it'll end up missing your connection. It won't suggest you somewhere to go because it thinks you'll take like 10 minutes when actually it only takes 2 minutes. So I don't really, there's nothing you can really do about it. You just have to kind of guess like, well, what if the train's late? Will this way still work? Is rice pudding arroz con leche? It is not like packaged rice pudding. The rice pudding I'm talking about is actually made with rice. You put rice in. I haven't made it in a long time, so I don't remember, but you put rice in with milk and cook it with raisins and some brown sugar. So it makes like a soft rice. It's not like pudding like you buy at the store and, use a pudding cup. It wouldn't fit in a pudding cup. That would just be gross. It's always served like fresh. It's kind of like a porridge consistently, like an oatmeal type of thing. What made you get into teaching on YouTube? That's a good question. Before I did YouTube or anything, I was already teaching online. So there were some forums for people who were practicing Korean, including Reddit, a couple of websites where people were asking Korean questions. And I would go there and I would just answer questions because I was bored. I wasn't like trying to teach Korean. I was bored. I was trying to help people. They'd be like, hey, what's the difference between, like isoyo and ieo and stuff? Because they both mean like M or cat, like, oh, 집에 있어요. 저는 빌리예요. Like, I am Billy. I am at home. So what's the difference? Like that kind of basic question. Or how do I conjugate the yo form? Or like, when do I use this? Really basic questions. And I would answer, oh, it's the difference between this, the verbs ita and ida and blah, blah, blah. And then I'd see people ask the same question again the next week. And I'm like, why didn't they just search? Like, if you search, you can't really find answers to that at the time, because this was back in 2010 when I started doing this, 2010 to 2011-ish. YouTube wasn't really big. Like, if you're talking about like who was on YouTube, it was like Fred, like that sort of stuff. YouTube wasn't really big, even though it was in its early days from like 2005, 2006. By 2010, it was still really slow. There weren't like people teaching Korean on YouTube at that point yet. So if you search for those differences, you wouldn't really find anything. You might find like a random lesson on a blog, like, Tumblr blog or something, but it wouldn't be a lesson. It would just be like a note. So I'm like, okay, well, people ask the same questions a lot. So why don't I just start a YouTube channel? And occasionally when I see a question that gets asked a lot, I'll film a video and put it up. So that's what my channel is when I first started in 2012. It's just literally common questions I saw people asking. And I put a funny skit in the beginning, me acting a little bit crazier than my normal self. And I figured whenever I get, new questions, I'll make a new video. That way I don't have to copy paste my answer. I can just say, here, I made a video about it. Watch this, But then people liked it right away when I first started the channel, and immediately it went up to like, I think I had 2,000 subscribers within the first month, which at the time was like, in early YouTube, that was like insane. Early YouTube, like subscribers were everything. So to think, getting 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers in the first month, it's like, okay, well, it wasn't a job. I'm not doing this for my life or anything. I was still actually looking for a job. I was out of work at that time, but I was thinking, okay, well, I'll keep doing this. So I filmed a bunch of episodes. And by the time I probably made about 20 episodes, I realized I should probably just keep doing this, right? Like, people like it, right? I should probably try to think of a way that I can actually make some money off of this, because I didn't even have YouTube AdSense yet. Like, I wasn't making anything on the videos. I didn't even have a way for people to donate. So yeah, I set up a website, started working on my first book, and yeah, that's pretty much how it started. I just went with less transfers. Yeah, that's good too. Although that might not always be the best way to get there, but sometimes, I do the same thing. If it takes like 40 minutes to get there by doing 3 transfers, or an hour to get there direct, I always take direct, because you never know if you're going to miss that transfer. And that's happened before when trying to rush to a location, and I take that way and it ends up taking like an hour and 5 minutes. And then I'm stressed doing all the transfers. So do you have a separate phone for Korea? No, I actually keep my regular phone and I use a SIM, an eSIM. This is not sponsored. I repeat, this is not sponsored. I use Airlo, but there's also Sealy. There's another one too. I'm not sure the downsides or the pros or cons between it, but I do know Airalo works fine for Korea. It's not like plug and play though. You have to change some of the settings on your phone to make it work. You might have to. I've already set it up on my phone, so it's not a big deal. I just turn it on, turn it off when I go to Korea. But you might have to manually like click network, add this setting and type in some stuff. It tells you what to type, but you might have to do a little bit of that. And it doesn't work immediately when you get off the plane. It'll have to like, it takes a few minutes to like connect. And then the airport is really annoying. The airport has dead zones. When you're on the plane, you can connect to the internet and you're thinking, yeah, I'm on the internet already. And as soon as you go inside, your internet cuts out and your phone doesn't work anymore. Then you go inside and the internet comes back on for a little bit. And then you go to the customs area and it cuts out again. I don't know if this is intentional or not. But anyway, I always found that I don't actually have internet until I'm completely out of the area. I've gotten my bag and I've like exited all the way close to the doors of the airport. Then the phone comes back to life and I've got data. But I do that. The reason I use that is because it's really cheap. I can get like 10 gigabytes for, I think it's like $20 or something like that per month. So it's not that bad and it works really fast and I don't have to switch my phone. And I still get to keep my phone number and stuff from the US. That way, in case someone calls me, if there's something, emergency or I need to get a text message for logging into a website or something like that, I can still get them while I'm in Korea. I just don't use the data from the US because it wouldn't work anyway. Yeah, you'll need cash in Korea for small stores, anything in the open marketplaces like that. If you go to any of those open markets, they all are just cash only. I mean, they might have a card reader, but they're not going to want to use it for like a $2 purchase. They might pull it out if you're doing like a large transaction. But what most places do is cash or keizaiite, which is direct deposit. Basically, like you transfer money. You have to have a Korean bank account, and then you have the app on your phone, and you type in the number, and you directly deposit it to the person right there, which is another way they accept money. But if you don't have a Korean bank account, and I don't, then you have to do cash only. Fred, yeah. Brought to you by Saley. Exactly. I know Saley does a lot of advertising on YouTube. One of my favorite YouTube channels that I watch also constantly advertises that, but I haven't used it. I am happy with Airalo currently, but like I said, not sponsored. I have your Korean Conversations book coming for Mother's Day. Nice. I already have Korean Made Simple 1 to 3 and your Sentence Connector book. The Conversations book is my personal favorite. It's the one that I wish I had. I mean, if I was going back to becoming a beginner in Korean, how would I learn Korean today? Would I buy my own books? Like, no, because I was in Korea. I would just learn by talking with people. But I would buy my Conversations book first. Personally, I would have still bought that because it's not tailored conversations. Like you can get Korean conversation books where they'll tell you, oh, here's some natural conversations. They're not natural because teachers want to focus on teaching you grammar forms. So they'll build the lessons, they'll build the conversations around the grammar forms. They'll make the conversation, it's real Korean, but it's not actually a conversation. It'll be like, hello, Sally, what are you doing today? Not much, Fred. I'm just going to the movies. How about you? Oh, I love seeing movies. I see a movie once a week. What movie are you planning to see? I'm seeing Made Up Movie Name Part 4. I loved Part 3. Did you see that? It's real Korean. It's natural sentences, but the conversation's not real. You get what I'm saying? So to get real conversations, you had one choice, which was you can't even watch shows because shows are also mostly scripted. They're talking like as clearly as possible for the camera. So you want real conversations, you have to just go out in Korea and listen to how people are talking to each other. But I'm thinking, let's make something that's actual Korean conversations. And because it's for an audience of people who already know the basics, I don't have to dumb it down. Like I don't have to strip out things and make it like for a formal or anything. I can leave mistakes. I can leave grammar mistakes in there and teach around them. I can include slang expressions that are actually good. Like I did do some tailoring to them to remove stuff that's like not useful actually in a conversation. Like you don't need to know a specific terminology from like a video game that no one's ever going to reference. So I tried to do a little bit of tailoring, but besides that, they're like actual, you could literally hear this conversation while sitting on a park bench, that sort of stuff. So that would have been good for me because I didn't get any exposure to that except when I was in Korea trying to figure that out on the fly. And I also made it so the conversation still included points I wanted to cover, but it was more loose. And the conversations all went through like multiple revisions to make them good. So it took a lot of work to make the conversations, but leave them completely like natural, like actually natural. But yeah, I like that one. The other one I would have wanted would be my reading book. Probably would have picked them up as an intermediate learner, not a beginner. And then I might get my sentence connector book for a reference. But yeah, that's probably what I would get. If I only got one, though, it would be the conversation. Don't exchange currency at the airport. Yes. The airport is not the best rate. There will be places you can convert your money in, like Hongdae, in major tourist areas will have places you can exchange your money. There's always a fee, though. But you might just, if you can actually, I recommend just getting a credit card that doesn't have a foreign transaction fee and using that when you're in Korea, and then getting a little bit of cash, like a couple $100 for places that just don't take card. But that's the cheapest. Keith, they recently started allowing US cards to top up T-money. Yes, I've heard that as well. If I'm intermediate, do you still recommend the conversation book? It's not for beginners. Beginners can use it, but I did not make it specifically for beginners. I made it for people who have already finished my beginner course. So it actually originally is made, it has those two goals, to be for intermediates and beginners, but ones who already know like the basics of the basics. Like you can already put together basic sentences. If you can't, then you wouldn't be doing full natural conversations anyway. But it's also a direct sequel to my beginner Korean course on YouTube, the 100 episodes. So everything in there that is already covered in the beginner course will not be retaught there. I might quickly mention it again, but it's not going to be retaught. So yeah, I'd assume you already know the basics before doing the conversation course, but then it's fine. So yeah, like low intermediate, high beginner is okay. If you're advanced, you probably know everything in the book. Except, although I do teach the kuroda and kurota forms in there as well, just briefly. You didn't get like a full lesson in there, but they are mentioned. Is it better in KT or LG? So those are just the Korean phone networks. You don't buy a plan with KT or LG in Korea unless you are using a Korean cell phone. You have a Korean cell phone plan. They don't sell separate SIMs as far as I know, unless you're talking about the ones you buy at the airport. Those are extremely overpriced. Don't do that. Just do an eSIM. Unless you have like a really old phone that can't use an eSIM and you need an actual physical SIM. But I think even like Airlo and Sealy and all of those ones will provide you with a physical SIM card as well if you need it. But yeah, just do an eSIM. Don't forget Charsu and Younghee. Younghee, right. Does anyone have a solution how to log in on Kakao Talk and Naver again? They banned my account. Well, if they banned your account, then they banned your account. Why did they ban your account? Did you not use your real phone number for it or something? Like if you try to use a temporary phone number or like a Google Voice phone number or something like that, they can ban you. If you're using an actual phone number, then you should be fine. They just need a way to verify that it's a real person. Okay. Let me check if I missed any comments. OXRDZ mentioned they ordered a bibimbap and they had this reddish cubed thing. Reddish cubed thing. Reddish? It might have been radish. It might have been like cubes of radish, but I'm not exactly sure. If you had a picture, I could probably tell you what they are, but I'm not sure what type you're talking about. Were they like kind of like dice sized? If so, they might have just been kimchi. So they might have just been like mu, basically radish. Have you heard of Kimchi Reader? I have. I haven't mentioned it much yet because I used it about 2 years ago and there were some issues with it for what I was trying to, because I was testing it out when I first heard about it. There are some issues with it would recognize words as names when they were words, and it wouldn't recognize a lot of the words that actually I was trying to check when I was doing a test. So I was considering if I should promote it or not, and I decided not to at the time. This was like 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But yeah, I decided at that point, I was like, it's not ready yet, because I felt like if it can't recognize these words, well, then it's not going to be useful for an intermediate learner who's going to need these intermediate words. And if it's misidentifying a bunch of these simple words, then I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner, because beginner is not going to be able to look up the words. Maybe they improved it. I haven't checked it out since the first time I heard about it. So I don't know. The other issue was that it supposedly will take subtitles from Korean videos. But when I was doing a test, none of the videos that I was testing had subtitles built in, which means it had to rely on Google Translate, the YouTube's inbuilt Korean auto-translate versions, which were often wrong. Because it'll translate from English into Korean, and it won't be what they said. It'll be kind of, the Korean video in Korean, not from translating from English, but not auto-translate, what's it called? Where it transcribes. That's what I meant to say. So it's transcribing what it hears, but it'll be wrong sometimes. So then when you checked in Kimchi Reader, it would show the wrong subtitle and then an analysis that doesn't make sense because the sentence isn't what they actually said. So I had that a lot. It was harder for me to find videos that were actually in Korean with Korean subtitles, because usually Koreans don't add subtitles onto videos. They add subtitles into the video as hard subtitles. But I couldn't find that many that had soft subtitles that would make it work. So that was one of the issues. Like I said, this was 2 or so years ago. They may have improved it, but that's the reason why, if you're ever wondering why I haven't mentioned it on my channel. I don't have anything against it. I just wasn't impressed with it when I tried it 2 years ago. The videos I want to use all have subtitles. I used it mostly for listening, so I'll make flashcards with audio to help out. Okay. But yeah, if you think it's better, if those don't sound like issues you have, let me know. I could check it out again. All right, take care. Tony likes weights. I added my Swedish phone number and it works fine. Yeah, I use Kakao on my US phone number. It works totally fine. But to be fair, I've had Kakao since it was brand new. It used to be only for phone contacts. So you had to add someone's phone number to your phone to get their ID. And then if you added them, they would add you automatically by your phone number. So it would automatically pull people from your phone's contacts and put them as your contacts in Kakao. That's one of the reasons why every single Korean person adopted it. In addition to it being a Korean-made company, is just because when you add in your friend, it would then add in all of your contacts at the same time. And then they would add in all their contacts. So it really quickly spread. Yeah, but Korean will not use WhatsApp. So if you have a Korean person ask you for your WhatsApp, there is a decent probability that person is not who they say they are. Younger Koreans might be aware of what WhatsApp is, but everyone has Kakao. So if they don't want to share their Kakao and they say, let's move to WhatsApp. Nope. Probably not. If they say, let's use Line, Line, probably not. I never met a Korean person that uses Line except for 2 people I knew who worked at Naver, which is the company that makes it. It's not that big in Korea. Pretty much. Oh, and the 2 people I know, they also deleted their Line account when they left the Naver company. So yeah, it's just Kakao is what everyone has. I use Kakao with my Irish phone number. Yeah, it should work fine. It doesn't have to be a Korean number to work. So I'm not sure the reason. It's possible that you didn't verify it, or you've used it before and got banned for something else and then signed up again with the same phone number. Or you're using like a virtual phone number or something like that. But if you're 100% sure, like, no, this is my real phone number, my real carrier phone number, I can verify it, and I got banned, and I actually didn't do anything, then you would contact Kakao directly. But there's not a number you would call. I believe you'd have to just send like a support request through their website or something like that. But Yeah, that's the only thing I can suggest. Line is bigger in Japan. Yeah, Line's really big in Japan. Okay, any other quick questions? Then we'll go for today. This is a very interesting live stream. We learned about a topic that you normally are not going to get a lesson about and talked about food. But yeah, the only times I've had Korean people online ask me for my WhatsApp were all scammers. And a couple times when they asked me for my line, they were also scammers. So they do exist, people who use those in Korea, but they also will have Kakao, 100%. They also have Kakao Messenger. So for whatever reason, they just don't want to tell you they're Kakao Messenger. What's support team email? I'm not sure. You'll have to find that out. Yeah, what's your WeChat? Yeah, that's definitely in China only, right? But usually I can tell it doesn't have to get to that stage. I use the apps HelloTalk and Tandem sometimes. I've used some other websites for finding Korean friends. And you can tell early on if someone's not a Korean person by the way that they write Korean. So they'll message me in Korean and they're like mixing their politeness levels, or they'll say, or their profile, usually their profile will have some in grammatical Korean. Like it's not grammar mistake. Like it's not a grammar mistake that a Korean would make. It's just like it makes no sense. Like something like a Korean learner would write, or someone who's using a machine translation would write, but not even a good machine translation. Like they didn't even bother asking like ChatGPT or anything. Although actually if they did, it still would have sounded awkward because ChatGPT can't translate naturally from English to Korean a lot. What did it? I had someone was like, 영어를 유창해요 or something like that. 영어에 유창해요. Or no, what was it? 한국말에 유창해요. Something like that. It was something weird like, this is wrong. I'm writing wrong in case you come in to this. This is wrong. It was 한국말에 유창하고, like fluent in Korean, and 영어도 배워 instead of like 배우고 싶어요. It was like really awkward sentences, and then they would make them longer. I could tell they translated it from another language. And I would find a lot of profiles that have this exact same sentence, the exact same 한국말에 유창하다 or 유창해요 or something like that. Because they were trying to translate literally, I am fluent in Korean. Or when you see people misuse 구사하다, which is basically another way of saying like, I am proficient in. I've seen other people misuse this word too. So like, you can usually tell, just read the profile. If you're curious if someone's a real Korean, come into my Discord and paste the photo that they wrote you in Korean. I'll tell you right away if it's real or not. You can tell. Short messages you maybe can't tell, but when you see a few sentences, you can tell like, oh, this person's pretending. So it never gets to the point that they ask for my Line account or my WeChat, like you said, my WhatsApp or something like that. It doesn't even get that far because you can tell right away. You're like, I'll just ask them like, how come you're pretending? 왜 한국인인 척하세요? Why are you pretending to be Korean? And they always leave immediately. Delete, block, before you can try to report them. So I always have have that written. I click send, and then I go to their profile, quickly report them before they can delete, because then it won't show to me after I've done that. And I'll copy paste their message and everything to get them banned. But yeah. Instagram is also popular. Yeah, Instagram is popular, as well as Twitter is popular in Korea too. It depends though for what purpose, but I'd say, yeah, Instagram is pretty popular. Some of my friends are on Instagram. I don't use Twitter though anymore. I haven't touched it in a long time, a few years. Ever since a certain someone did a certain thing, I'm like, maybe I don't need to use this anymore. I haven't been back. I'm afraid of Hello Talk. Why are you afraid of Hello Talk? It's just Korean people. I just found out information. You can log in current number in India, but service is limited. Oh, okay. I just use some of the constructions I learned here. If they're scammers, they don't know them. Does anyone have a good explanation for the adverb aye? I might. As far as translation, at all. Let me check if there's a better way to translate this though. Hold on. That's probably how I would translate it, like every single time. What does Naver say is the official translation for it? At all. Okay, maybe never before. Yeah, so never before could work. From the beginning or from the get-go, I think is also another way I would translate this. But in Naver, it shows never before. I've never translated this way before, but I think it could work too. I always think of it as like at all. As in, at all meaning from the beginning. Like, oh, I never even liked it at all. Not like 전혀, not like completely at all, although it does also have that meaning. But it has more of the feeling of like from the beginning. Like I always, that sort of meaning. Always did that. Always never did that. If you have a sentence that you saw it in, I can even break that down for you. But I think at all is how I usually translate it too. Oh, Keith also wrote that as well. Not at all. Yeah. And yeah, it would be used in negative. 전혀 is at all as in zero amount. 전혀 is what it means. It doesn't have to do with like from the beginning. Like if you wanted to say, oh man, I've never even been able to do that before. I've never been able to do that at all. That's saying like from the beginning, from the get-go, I couldn't even do that. If you say 전혀, it's like I have zero ability to do that. 전혀 못하겠어요. Like I can't do it at all, as in the opposite of completely at all. Whereas this one is at all, as in from the beginning. Like from before anything even happened at all. Which in English, we use them in the same thing. At all can mean in kind of both of those situations. In Korean, it's separate. Sunny Southpaw, you're waiting for it to get here. Has anyone else purchased or used it? Sarah says, I used HelloTalk and made a few friends. It's good to make sure to be safe. I've had friends for like 3 years. Yeah. I used to use it a lot more than I do nowadays. Nowadays, it's not so much. But originally, I'd made a bunch of friends on there. And a couple friends I have today, like some of my best friends today, I met on those apps like 10 years ago or more. One of my friends, you've seen her in some of my videos, Soyoung. She's been in like maybe once a year, she'll appear in a video. And I met her on that app as well, probably back in like 2014, 2013, like forever ago. And we're still friends. In fact, it's so long ago, I don't even remember which app it was, but I think it was HelloTalk. I think it was HelloTalk. I can't remember, honestly. Yeah, the thing though is if you use Korean to them, then they might not even want to reply to you. They might just disappear. Not because they think you're Korean strange or they're like, oh, I don't understand what they're saying. It's more like they literally didn't want someone who can speak Korean. They wanted someone that they can fool easily. Because if they know you speak some Korean, then that means they have to use translator. They have to keep replying to you. They might have to teach you. They don't want that. They want an easy target. So yeah, using Korean back to someone is a good way to check. It's a good way to save your time, because if they can't use it back to you, then that's an easy way to tell they're a scammer. But yeah, if you're ever curious, is this person a real Korean or not? Send me a message on Discord, or you can post a picture in Discord or send me a message and I'll tell you if it's a real Korean or not. Because there's some things you can tell. There's Korean that a Korean would use to another Korean. You won't see that. They're not going to send that to you. But then there's the Korean that a Korean will use to a foreigner. That's what you will see. And that's not natural Korean. It's a little bit different. Most often they'll simplify the politeness level. They might just use the casual speech to you. They might say no, even if they're younger than you. Like those types of things, they might use shorter sentences, simpler sentences, different verb endings, but that's okay. That's a different form. And then there's a third type, which is just Korean, a person pretending to be a Korean. And that it doesn't look like either of those two types. I keep getting messages from creepy guys. So I recommend for that, in your profile, make the first thing that your profile says, no, I don't want to date you. I have a boyfriend, whatever. Even if you don't, just write that. It doesn't matter. And then if someone messages you a creepy guy, just report them. But I mean, I have to do kind of that too. As a guy, I don't have to deal with guys flirting with me, which is, I mean, I guess it's nice. It's kind of sad though, right? Everyone wants people to flirt with them, but I don't have to deal with that. But what I do have to deal with is you message like 100 people, maybe not 100. Okay. 10 people. No one replies because it's normal. Like you're just not going to get very many replies. So you just kind of have to deal with that and accept that you're like digging through the garbage to find a diamond, right? It's kind of like that. Someone tells you, hey, in this dump pile of this trash and old TVs and dirty socks and everything, there are some diamonds hidden in there. Do you go in? Is kind of the question. Like, is it worth it? I think yes. I think, you push aside all the annoying people, or even just cool people like, oh, it's a nice TV, but I already have a TV. Like, I just don't mesh with that person, whatever. But then you get to the really cool stuff. You're like, wow, this was worth it. Like, that's kind of how I feel about the language learning apps, is that depending on your gender, depending on your appearance, depending on your Korean abilities, this will be a different experience for you. But I think the result can be worth it. You can get a cool friend out of it. You can get someone you can hang out in Korea, someone you can practice with, whatever. You can find cool things on those, even if you're not going to match with anyone. And it's not to say the people you don't match with are bad people or anything, but like the experience kind of feels like you're doing all this work, right, to get a reward. But I think the reward is worth it, or at least it can be. I'm very good at pretending to be Korean. Just send them like 3 dots and then go k. Do we know, how do we use 그쪽? 그쪽 is for you, but it's literally like you over there. So it's not a personal way. It's not a very friendly way, but it is a way you can address someone you don't know anything about, but that you're directly addressing. Whereas 당신 is more for like indirect, like you don't know who you're talking to. So you'll see it as like, people are asking general questions, like just to the universe, like in general, who, like you, 당신, like that, the unknown you sort of thing. But 그쪽 is like, oh, you. But it's not a very polite or especially friendly way. It's just like you over there, kind of. And as soon as you know the person, how you should address them, switch to a different way. But it's a temporary way you can use in some situations. I don't recommend it a lot, but it is better than 당신, I'd say. Yeah, it can be a bit confrontational for some reason. That's the reason why it's like, you over there, what do you think? Where are you going? Like that sort of like, me? But then you want to switch over as soon as you know. So it's like you don't know enough to address them. If they're older though, you might want to just use 선생님 or something like that, or not even use anything, which is probably the better way. Just don't use you at all. Just ask the question with honorifics. 어떻게 생각하세요? What do you think? You don't need you. Or 혹시 get someone's attention that you're going to ask a question. 저기 혹시, by chance, and then you ask it. You don't have to say you. I put it in a big red font. I'm not there to date and I won't send my photos. Of course, majority of guys ignore it, but it's possible to find genuine people for language exchange. Yeah. Do like, I'm not here to date, no photos, no social media, and then do like the middle finger emoji, like whatever you want just to get that kind of person away. The people that they're not even looking for friends, which, you might find a boyfriend there. That's cool, but you're not looking for people who are just trying to bug you, right? You want to actually find friends to talk with. So yeah, I recommend doing something like that. Unfortunately, I don't have to deal with that. But then I do have the opposite side where I'm not a young female, so I don't get my replies read as much. But it's okay. You still meet up with people. You still find friends every once in a while. Lately, I messaged a bunch of people again. I probably sent like 20 messages last week, just trying to, every once in a while, maybe every few months, I'll go back on one of the apps. And I got one person to reply, so I'm talking with one person, which is cool, but it's still one person's better than zero. Yeah, if you talk with hundreds of people and you get 5 close friends, that's a big one. And I'm probably the same. I've sure I've had hundreds of conversations over the years with those. Even if I've only made like 2 friends right now who I still, no, 3 friends who I still communicate with from those apps, it's worth it. Hundreds of friends to meet those 3 people, totally worth it. I would do it again. Bailey, how should I study Hangul efficiently so I can read fast? So, have you already learned the alphabet? Reading fast is not something you can study separately until you've already started learning the language, because reading quickly involves being able to recognize the word before you finish reading it. Just like in English, if you see the word Hangul, do you read Hangul? Are you still reading it that way? If so, don't worry about speed. This is only Hangul. You can read it as one thing. You don't even need to look at the syllables. It's like Chinese characters, right? You see a Chinese character, you just recognize it. It's like if I do this. God, I can't draw. Okay, there we go. If I do this and you look at it for 1 second, what animal is that? It's supposed to be a cat, I swear. But you get the idea. You recognize it's a cat. You don't have to like look at the ears, like, oh, there are 2 eyes, there are whiskers, is that a mouth? Oh, there's the head shape. Like, right away it's a cat because you've seen a lot of pictures of cats before. Even though I apologize, it kind of looks like a rat or something. If I had two teeth, then now it's a rat. Now it's a proper rat. Anyway, you will get faster at reading just by learning the language because you will be able to see these as one unit and not as the letter. In fact, so much that if I were to write it wrong, you're still going to be able to, anyone could still read it. Here, let's write it. You could still read that. If I wrote it a little bit bigger, maybe it's a little hard to see. Let me do it a little bigger. Okay. Anyone could still read this because you're so used to seeing Hangul written, the word, that even though this is messed up, the stroke order, you see where it goes, and you could still read this. You wouldn't look at Hangul. You would just say, oh, Hangul, written messily, because you've seen it so many times. So getting faster at reading is just a factor of how much Korean do you know. It doesn't have anything to do with like, oh, well, practice writing more, practice reading more. No, it's just practice Korean more. Your reading speed will match with your speaking speed by default. Assuming you're also occasionally doing reading. But I wouldn't say like, oh, just read lots of books and you'll get faster at reading Hangul. No, because you won't get faster at reading Hangul. You'll get faster at recognizing the individual characters, but not at actually reading the language. And you don't want to be looking at the characters. You want to be looking at the syllables and the words, right? So yeah, that's my advice, is just don't worry about getting faster at reading. Although, if you are wondering about how to get better at reading, specifically not just getting faster, but getting better, I am actually uploading a video this Friday, which will be specifically about improving your Korean reading. And there are also some specific book recommendations in there, so you can look forward to that as well. Looks like a panda, thanks. I was going to say a bear. It almost looked like a bear if I drew like the mouth shape like that, then it would have been a bear. Because that's how I would draw Kikat. Chica Baduk said wombat. I'm sorry, but you know what it's supposed. Just pretend that I drew it correctly, and be like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying, Billy. Yeah, I get it. That's a beaver. Thanks. Speaking of beaver, did anyone see Hoppers? Hoppers is good. If you're wondering if you should watch it, Hoppers was pretty fun. I liked it. It's not like Avatar. It's like it was different, but it was kind of like Avatar, but a different story. It was Avatar with a different story. Yes, it was fun. I accidentally learned to read faster by reading lyrics while listening to K-pop. Well, yeah, because you're actually learning K-pop because you're getting used to hearing that and then reading it as you hear it, so you're going to be able to recognize it quicker. That's the same sort of thing as you're going to get better at just by learning Korean. Project Hail Mary, also really good. Yep. Rocky's great. Amaze. I watch K-dramas and YouTube videos with Korean subtitles and try to read at the speed people are talking. Oh, that's going to be tricky. If the YouTube video has it, yeah. If the YouTube video comes with subtitles, they're usually more accurate, but sometimes they're still not correct. It'll be like it'll be something the person wished they said instead sometimes. Okay. All right, so that's enough for today. I don't want to go too much. Thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you again next time. Remember that next Sunday will be the last class, and I don't know what the topic is. I'll have to make a new vote. Anyway, 그럼 다음에 또 봐.